In my photography, I like to edit pretty minimally. I do some, but not a lot, and sometimes none at all. I have a range of things that I do. Typically, I stick with curves and boosting saturation a little, or maybe desaturating as the case may be, but usually in an attempt to make the scene look the way my eyes saw it, or to enhance the feeling of an image. Maybe I'll do a little skin smoothing or blemish removal if I'm working with a model, but I pretty much prefer to get the photo that I envision as I envision it in the camera, rather than spend a lot of time at the computer making adjustments later on. Now, that's not to say that I don't ever dive into my editing software and really play around or add a fun filter. I do that too. I post a lot of photos online, in case you hadn't noticed, in different styles and of different subjects, and people's reactions vary because everyone has their own opinion on what a good photo is and how to create one. So I want to talk to you about your opinions and why starting your creation before you pick up your camera at all opens up all sorts of possibilities once you're ready to actually take a photo and create your own work of art. I posted a video a while back where I shared my thoughts on timing, light, and location. I shared photos from a shoot that I did in a field of wildflowers at sunrise. That shoot was all about the timing, sunrise in the fall when the wildflowers bloom, the light, diffused, cloudy sunrise light, and the location, a huge field of wildflowers with forest and mountains in the background. I did some editing on the photos to amplify the dreamy look that I wanted, but the photos without editing were still really pretty. Without the research that I did beforehand, this would not have happened. Now, I may have lucked into it because that does happen from time to time, but I doubt it. I set myself up for this one. I think it was because of my time spent wandering the area, always on the lookout for a good location, and my patience in waiting months for the wildflowers once I did find a location, and then my work even when everything got lined up, because while beautiful, it wasn't a fun location. I had to get up super early to get myself ready to model and then drive 45 minutes to get there, all before sunrise. In fact, a couple photographers showed up after us, and if we hadn't beaten them there, I wouldn't have been able to hop into the scene because they would have been photographing the scene. And then there was the wading through the bushes and the spiky weeds with who knows what lurking in that mushy ground. And I was trying my hardest not to disturb the furry caterpillars that were on every single bush. Seriously, hundreds. And all were wearing a big tulle skirt and trying to look peaceful. Oh, and the ants, the giant anthills. And I'm not even talking about the second half of the shoot where I hiked a half-mile up the mountain to get to a different scene. But that's okay, because I got some great shots. Getting back to timing, light, and location, if you put in the work, the research into weather, the trips to find cool locations, if you pull your arse out of bed before dawn to trek to a location and then deal with any adverse conditions that come up, you'll get that raw material to do whatever you want with, even if that's nothing at all. Let me show you what I mean. I did a photo shoot in a grassy field and nearby forest a few days ago to help demonstrate my point. This time, it was on a different mountain. I found the field while running up the mountain and resolved to come back once the snow melted. I did the shoot at sunset, and while that shoot I showed you a minute ago involved some fancy wardrobe, this time I chose a t-shirt, this t-shirt, and jeans, minimal. Just a beautiful location during summer when everything is particularly green and during the beautiful light of sunset. So let's see what I can do with it, from editing a lot to editing some or not at all, but always coming up with a great photo because I started with a great photo. When you're done watching this video, follow the link in the description below for more technical details. And as usual, VIPs will get all of the photos from the shoot and a couple of behind-the-scenes videos too. But for now, let's take a look at some editing. If you like to spend time at the computer, you can use all of the options in your editing software, tuning the whole image or even individual areas to your liking. You might even be taking things out, like this downed tree in the background, because maybe you think it's distracting. Or doing work on a model's skin so that it looks like tanned whipped cream. You can use filters that create an almost otherworldly effect, or make it look old, or like it was shot on film. You can edit very little, maybe just boosting contrast and saturation. You can even use the in-camera editing options to quickly adjust the photo before you transfer it to a computer or tablet. Or you could not edit the image at all, letting it stand on its own. Or alternatively, maybe you set the camera to exactly how you want the image to turn out, with contrast and saturation options and white balance options that create the image with the adjustments baked in. The point is here that you have options, but you've got to work for it. You know, editing can cover up laziness when taking the photos or offset difficult conditions. A pretty model can make your job a lot easier, and it goes without saying that knowing about photography and how to use your equipment is beneficial. But getting your timing, light, and location spot on gives you so many more options. That's where the process starts for me. I love all things about photography. I love art. I truly am open-minded when it comes to how anyone wants to create their art. Maybe it's a little time preparing for the shoot and a lot of time editing. Maybe it's the opposite. Or maybe it's not the finished product at all for you, but rather the journey to how or where the photo was taken. And the photo is just documenting a place and time. What do you think?